The night is as cold as water, and the moon is also obscured by dark clouds. Ji Qingming stumbled on the mountain road. Because of the high heels on his feet, his ankles were red and swollen, and the white skirts were also drawn into strips by thorns. He was embarrassed and dirty. But she didn't care about these anymore. Her eyes were full of anger, because her eyes were a little red. After finally crossing this winding mountain road, the eyes suddenly opened up. Although the road was very dark, you could vaguely see the castle standing high in the forest in the distance. Ji Qingming squinted his eyes, looked at the castle in the distance, gritted his teeth and continued to walk forward. As the night breeze blows, the moonlight also casts down, and Ji Qingming also passed through the forest and stood in front of the castle. This castle seems to be a long time old, and it is surrounded by thorns and vine roses, and under the slight moonlight, it adds a bit of gloom. Ji Qingming walked a few steps forward, his finger touched the rose on the door, the delicate petals, like a weak life. Soul place? Here is the taboo, where the soul is exchanged for everything. The host here can do anything, you just need to deliver your soul. Use your soul for money, for a woman, for everything you want to have. In Ji Qingming's eyes, there was not a trace of struggle. With a slight movement of his fingers, she tore off the delicate petals. The tender petals were thrown on the dark soil. She opened the door and walked in resolutely. No matter what, she wants revenge for mother and brother, pure soul? Then she doesn't want it. Ji Qingming walked to the front of the castle and touched the coldness of the door with her finger. She felt timid in her heart, not because of fear, but because of the unknown. Pushing open the heavy door, the darkness inside seemed to make people fall into a bottomless pit. Ji Qingming felt a heavy mind for a while, and when she exhausted all her energy to open her eyes, her red eyes were full of doubts. Slowly sat up, the place where his fingers touched was soft for a while, but I couldn't perceive what it was. At first glance, it turned out to be starry. It's like staying in a starry sky, the heart that was originally angry and going to kill people, unexpectedly this place was let down. Is there anybody? I haven't spoken for a day, and my voice is a bit dry. Since I'm here, I can't get out, do you know? Accompanied by a nice voice, the brilliant starry sky in front of him seemed to be torn apart. A man was sitting on a purple velvet chair. He lowered his head slightly, the broken hair on his forehead covered his eyebrows, only showing a tall nose, thin lips, and sharp chin. Sitting like this makes it difficult to see how he feels. Even if he has a trace of laziness, he can't conceal the natural aura of Ling Ran. I know. Ji Qingming retracted his gaze, and his tone was flat. The man sitting in the starry sky didn't move, but his thin lips slightly raised a smile. What would you like? He asks. I want a chance to go back in time. Ji Qingming's originally flat mood, but also because of his strong hatred, slowly burned. Okay. The man nodded. Whoever came here was not full of hatred. Your soul will have to do 20 missions, and you will have this opportunity. The man sits in the starry sky, with slender legs overlapping. Yes. Ji Qingming gritted his teeth and responded, even if he didn't want his life, what about his soul? Then you go. With his clear voice, Ji Qingming only felt dizzy for a while, and he fell into the sky of stars. Those dazzling starlights all converged into a huge vortex, and the whole body seemed to be torn into pieces, sucked in by that powerful air current. The pain in the body came bursts of pain, followed by dizziness. Thou sand lily, you bitch! Grab someone else's boyfriend! Pop a loud and crisp applause. Kill her, kill her! Noisy humming noises. Ji Qingming only felt that there were thousands of needles tingling in his head, and these mixed sounds in his ears made his brain ache for a while. She frowned, slowly opened her eyes, and found that she was in a cherry blossom forest. At this time, the sun was good. She was sitting on the grass relying on the tree trunk, and the cherry blossom petals fell apart. Don't hit me, it was Hog who forced me. Girls begging for mercy and whimpering came from my ears. Looking through the flowers, although the shadows are wrong, they still see clearly what they are doing. A weak girl was bullied by several girls. Dust and petals spread, and this sunny morning is a little more gloomy. Ji Qingming frowned and looked around. There were fine twigs on the ground. If he left secretly, he would definitely be found. At this time, they can only leave after they end the civil war. Thinking that she was still dark, or accepted the plot early, she slowly closed her eyes. This is a school essay by Mary Sue. The hostess is called Qian Bei, from a poor family, and has a weak younger sister. The hostess works as a maid in the wealthiest family in this country. She is bullied because of cowardice. Then she is rescued by the young master of this family. The young master asked for what the white rabbit felt. Because of the young master, she even went to the best aristocratic school together. Probably because she was born with a little Beiwa temperament, which made people love and affectionate. Upon arriving at this noble school, the president of the student council, the elder of the underworld family, the school board, the substitute teacher, and even the mysterious exchange student, as well as the Arabian prince, all fell under her pomegranate skirt one by one. The men who like her are all powerful and powerful, although they are all powerful, and when the heroine is crying, it makes people sad, and the natural attraction of the heroine makes people rush forward. So, after some wars, these men decided to share this woman at the same time. In the end, the hostess and the men lived happily in love with each other. Speaking of this, it seems that there is nothing wrong with the girl who crossed over with Ji Qingming. Because this girl is just a cannon fodder. She is the eldest lady of the house where the hostess originally worked as a maid. She is called Mo Qingming. She has an exquisite appearance and a little bit of girlish feelings. At the beginning, it was very stupid and cute to follow the hostess, until one day I found out that the boy I liked was with the hostess, and then broke off with the hostess. After the hostess's heartbroken cry, her brother cheated. After leaving her company's shares, she was finally drunk and thrown in the nightclub. His death was miserable. Ji Qingming opened his eyes, with a trace of incomprehension on his face, and the character he crossed over was also very weak. It is more irritating than my own business. Probably it was with a little bit of resentment, and when I encountered this kind of plot at this time, I felt very angry in my heart. Now she Ji Qingming, no, Mo Qingming, wants to live this life again. This time, she was no longer a cannon fodder. Please, don't beat me. I'm innocent, woo-woo. I just want to live my own life, a simple life. Qian Lily cried out of grievances, and she covered her face with her hands, avoiding letting them hit her. Hee. Qian Bei, I heard that you came in because of Mo Kingzi's road, so why seduce my hog? That girl looked at Qian Lily with disgust, wishing to shave her face. She was so cheap, she had to pretend to be pure, really annoying. After going through the plot, Mo Qingming also knew who the girl in front of him was. The daughter Wei Jiao, who has always been obsessed with Hog, is domineering and arrogant by nature. That's it. The girls following Wei Jiao all agreed. Qian Bei wanted to speak but stopped, although she was crying, her eyes revealed a stubborn color. She just wanted to live a normal life, only met Hog in the cherry blossom forest once, and then. However, her boyfriend is Mo Kingzi, she is persecuted, she is innocent. Why don't I know, I am yours. With a cold voice, a long figure walked over, wearing a college uniform with a loose neckline, revealing a delicate collarbone. Hog. When she saw Hog, the embarrassed Qian Yuri reddened her eyes again, looking at him as if she saw a savior. He finally came to rescue her, save her from the clutches of these women. This woman belongs to me. If you touch her next time, I will destroy you. Hog stretched out his hand and picked up Qian Bei, then gave Wei Jiao and them viciously. Wei Jiao bit her lower lip and said nothing in the end. Qian Lily's eyes were red and Hog pulled away. Let's go. Wei Jiao also snorted coldly, and led people away, returning to silence in the cherry blossom forest. Mo Qingming reached out his hand and nodded his chin, and gradually fell into thought. She knew that although Hog had a relationship with Qian Yuri, now Hog didn't have much thoughts about Qian Yuri, but later, in a gun battle, Qian Yuri stood in front of him and shot him. Hog's life experience is more complicated and confusing, and it is not easy to have a sincere heart. It is precisely because of the shot that Qian Lily has blocked for her that he willingly delivers his sincerity. Mo Qingming rubbed his stiff legs and stood up slowly. Just when he was about to go out, he heard a faint laughter from one side. Mo Qingming's footsteps stopped, and he stepped on a broken branch. With a click, it was also exceptionally abrupt in this silent forest. Who? Looking around, there was no one, but there was laughter, and Mo Qingming's hair was terrified for a while. I looked around, and finally a figure jumped from the top of my head. Mo Qingming looked at the man who jumped down, with a slender figure and a delicate appearance, not inferior to Hog and the others. Going through the plot carefully, there is no such person. In general, according to Mary Sue Wen's urinary sex, such high-quality men are generally female protagonists. But this man was a non-existent person, which made Mo Qingming, who came over to do the task, feel deeply disturbed. Who are you? Mo Qingming asked again. She didn't like this feeling of not being controlled at all. You don't need to know. The boy said something and left without looking back. Mo Qingming looked helplessly at his back and left slowly. Looking at the wristwatch, there are no classes today, so she walked to the school gate. A Rolls-Royce Phantom was parked in a conspicuous place in front of the school. It was my family car. When he saw himself, the driver Xiao Lu had got out of the car respectfully and waited. Mo Qingming also walked over slowly. Qingming, a soft voice rang in the ears. Mo Qingming turned his head and watched Qian Beihe trotting over, her figure irritating, so walking over also attracted a lot of attention. Although she was of the same family, she had just gone to work as a maid in her own house again, and Mo Qingming was obviously not familiar with her at this time. But she just walked over to someone who was very familiar, and yelled her name affectionately. Seeing Mo Qingming's eyes, Qian Beihe was a little embarrassed, but Mo's villa was on the outskirts of a mountainside. Usually, she came with Mo Qingzi, which didn't feel bothersome. But today Mo Qingzi said something was wrong, and left the school early, asking her to find Mo Qingming and take her back. What's up? Mo Qingming glanced at her lightly. Her cheeks had been touched up, but some fingerprints could still be seen. In fact, the original owner was so miserable because of her. If it weren't for her to cry all the time, she didn't explain anything, and finally caused the original owner to be so miserable by his biological brother. This kind of woman is just a scheming of a pseudo-white lotus. Of course, Mo Qingming would not let it go. Qingzi said, "Let you take me back together." Qian Beihe said, walked to Mo Qingming's side, stretched out her hand to hold Mo Qingming's arm. Mo Qingming watched her take her arm naturally and was also drunk, and subconsciously threw her hand away. Qian Beihe looked at the hand that was thrown away, and suddenly seemed to be greatly wronged, and the teardrops instantly rolled down. Qingming! Suddenly yelled out sadly again. It seemed that Mo Qingming had done anything to her. Because it is in front of the school, there are still many people coming and going. I don't know if the heroine's halo is too dazzling, or Qian Beihe's crying face makes people feel pitiful. In short, someone immediately pointed to Mo Qingming. In an instant, many people surrounded the two of them. Qian Beihe's crying body trembled as if seeing people around him, and teardrops hung on her porcelain white face. Qingming! We live together, so you can take me back by the way. Is it because I have a close relationship with your brother, are you like this? Qianbei's eyes blushed from crying, watching Mo Qingming biting her lower lip. When the people around heard Qianbei say this, they suddenly looked at Mo Qingming's eyes with a little more playfulness. It turned out to be the girlfriend of his elder brother who is jealous of him. It seems that he is still a brother-in-law. When Mo Qingming heard Qianbei say these words, he immediately vomited a mouthful of old blood. Has this girl's brain been caught by the door? Still naturally self-esteem too high. You are just my housemaid. I don't know the relationship between you and my brother, but I am not used to being alone in a space with strangers. Of course, if you have no money, I will give you a taxi. Mo Qingming was neither impatient nor impatient, his voice was like a clear spring. After speaking, he took out a few hundred yuan from the wallet and handed it to Jian Lili. After hearing what Mo Qingming said, the people around realized that it was the maid of the young master on the list. She was still shy and wanted to go back in the same car with the eldest lady. The boys are okay, and the eyes of the girls when they look at Jian Lili also become disgusted. I don't want your stinky money. Qian Lui is a very sensitive person, and at this moment, she also felt that the eyes of the people around her looked strange, her chest was ups and downs suddenly, and her face flushed with anger. She stretched out her hand and opened Mo Qingming's hand. The red $100 bill just fell to the ground. Qianbei felt very humiliated, she looked at Mo Qingming with shame. I am very poor, but you can't insult me like this. Mo Qingming looked at her, feeling amused for a while. If you really have dignity, why bother to come and tell the stranger that you want to go back together? Even if you are not willing to spend money, you can still ride a bicycle. That was my extra effort. Mo Qingming bent down, picked up the money on the ground, put it in his wallet, and turned around to leave. Qingming at this moment, Qian Yuri, who felt extremely humiliated, yelled again. Mo Qingming suddenly became unhappy, and there was no end to it. She was just about to walk towards the front, and instantly, her arm was pulled by someone. Mo Qingming tilted his head slightly and saw Jian Lili grabbing his arm tightly. Do you look down on me? I am persecuted. While Jian Lili was talking, Iwa cried again with rain. Mo Qingming took a deep breath. Anyway, she would always tear her face. She and Mo Qingzi didn't want to give a good face. She even said she was a girlfriend before, but now she is being persecuted. What is she going to say? I have already said that you are not familiar with me, and I don't want to know about you. Mo Qingming's skin is that kind of very delicate. At this moment Jian Lili clutched firmly, there has long been a circle of marks. Little Lu! Mo Qingming yelled, Xiao Lu who was still standing there stupidly. Xiao Lu was standing there with his nose and heart, but at this moment Mo Qingming shouted, struck a clever, and quickly walked over. Pull her away from me. Mo Qingming said coldly. Yes yes yes. Xiao Lu didn't want to get involved. Although Jianbei is a maid, she has a pure and cute personality. Everyone helps each other in the villa. What's more, the relationship between her and the young master is so good, maybe she can still be a candidate for the young wife in the future. The eldest lady will marry out in the future, so it's better to have a good relationship with Jianbei, and maybe she will be able to grow up in the future. Xiao Lu thought about it a lot, but at this moment, Mo Qingming said that, there was no way. She had to pretend to pull Jian Lili to one side. During the pulling, Jian Lili's fingers pulled out a long blood mark on Mo Qingming's arm. His Mo Qingming looked at the wound on his arm, it was really. Sorry. Seeing the wound on Mo Qingming's arm, Jian Lili knelt down immediately. Qingming miss, it's all my fault, you must not fire me. As soon as she saw that Mo Qingming was injured, Jianbei turned pale with fright. Although she didn't like being treated like that by Mo Qingzi, it was just that her sister was sick, and she really needed that sum of money. Working as a maid in the Mo family is very comfortable and the salary is very high. Miss, Please forgive Lily, she didn't mean it. Xiao Liu's knees were already bluish when she knelt down on the ground as she watched Jian Lily crying. Also busy interceding with Jian Beihe. Yes, she is so poor. Yes, they didn't mean it. The heroine's halo was really awesome, but she knelt and cried, and the people around her instantly leaned to her side one by one. I don't seem to say anything. You've been doing this and that, if you really want dignity, don't kneel down motionlessly. Mo Qingming glanced at her coldly, then turned and walked towards his car. Xiao Lu hurriedly helped Jian Beihe up. Jian Beihe staggered, and she fell into Xiao Liu's arms. Xiao Lu made a big red face in an instant. After all, it was the young master's woman, so he was so frightened that he let go of his hand quickly. Xiao Lu, thank you for today. Jian Beihe looked at Xiao Lu with tears. It's okay, it's just that the young lady doesn't agree, and it's hard for me to take you. Xiao Lu looked at Jian Beihe, a trace of apology flashed in his eyes. It's not to blame you, after all, I am poor, and the young lady looks down on me. Jian Yuri said, lowering her head slowly. I'm leaving, let's go back to talk in the evening, here is 100 yuan, enough for you to take a taxi. Xiao Lu watched Mo Qingming had been waiting in the car for a while, although he liked being with Jian Beihe, he didn't dare to waste time at this time. He took out 100 yuan and stuffed it into Qun Lily's hand. Thank you. I will definitely return this to you in the future. Jian Beihe took the $100, her teary eyes dim, and she looked at the driver Xiao Lu as if she was looking at the savior. Seeing Jian Beihe's eyes, Xiao Lu, the driver, instantly swelled up in his heart, looked at Jian Beihe with a smile, turned around and ran towards the car Mo Qingming was sitting in. The smile on Xiao Liu's face disappeared as soon as he got in the car. He looked forward with a gloomy expression, but in his heart he felt that the heart of the eldest lady was too cruel. Although Mo Qingming was looking at the album in his phone, he also felt Xiao Liu's malice towards him. To deal with such a small role, she could let him go with just a word. However, it was also fun to watch him just look like a parting life and death with Jian Lily. In the plot, Mo Qingzi and the others can have a woman together, provided that their identities are the same noble, even if they are the substitute teachers of the school, they are the second generation of the rich. But this Xiao Lu is just a driver. If Mo Qingzi knew that his woman was with such a person, would he be interested in continuing to enjoy such a woman with Xiao Lu? Mo Qingming wanted to make this point clear, and even more leisurely deleted the phone photos. They were all taking photos with Mo Qingzi, and they were very sweet when they looked at them, but at this time they felt very annoying. There are 3 children in the Mo family. Mo Qingjian and Mo Qingzi are boys, so Mrs. Mo later had a daughter like Mo Qingming, which she regarded as the baby in the palm of her hand. Mo Qingjian is also a sister-in-law, and she especially likes this sister. Mo Qingzi also liked her sister very much at the beginning, but later slowly fell into love. How pure and beautiful Jian Lily is in his eyes, so how hateful Mo Qingming is. Although I have never seen how Mo Qingming dealt with Jian Beihe once, but couldn't bear Jian Beihe crying again and again, Mo Qingzi finally deceived Mo Qingming, got Mo Qingming's shares, and then gave her to lie to the nightclub, die without self-esteem, die so miserable. Mo Qingming deleted the photos on the phone and was sleeping while holding the phone. In fact, Mo Qingming's status in the family is very high, but she trusts her brother too much, otherwise she would not give her shares to him to take care of. The car drove smoothly to Mo's villa in mid-levels. Xiao Lu kept driving to the door of the villa, but did not get out of the car and open the door. Mo Qingming opened his eyes slightly, and couldn't help frowning. Although she did not fire the driver in order to block Mo Qingzi. But now, Mo Qingming took out his cell phone and dialed the number of Uncle Wang, the housekeeper. Miss. Uncle Wang happened to be nearby, trotting over while answering the phone. Going to the door of the car, he carefully opened the door for Mo Qingming. He didn't pay his salary for 3 months, and my driver had to be replaced by another person. Yes, yes, yes. Uncle Wang nodded hurriedly. Having watched Mo Qingming enter the gate, he looked at Xiao Lu again. Miss, get off the car, you don't drive the door? Do you think you are the young master? Did you hear that? The 3-month salary is gone, you can drive the second young master tomorrow. Uncle Wang looked at Xiao Lu, mocking coldly. Xiao Lu's gloved hand clenched the steering wheel, and he hated Mo Qingming even more. He couldn't wait to quit his job at this time, but once he left, he couldn't see Qianbei, he couldn't bear it. But driving for the second young master, Lily is the second young master's girlfriend, so that you can see Lily often. Have you heard? Uncle Wang gave another cold call. Yes. Xiao Lu lowered his head and looked downcast. Uncle Wang murmured a few more words and left. Mo Qingming just walked into the villa, and immediately there was a handsome male servant who held slippers and handed it over. Mo Qingming changed his shoes and walked inside. The handsome male servant also followed behind her. Madame Mo walked out. Tears Yurli Yulai loves Menglian tears Bingyu tears falling ice purple butterfly dreams sorrowful heart Sakura Yubing Ling Yi Diamond Gru, you are back. Mrs. Mo is well maintained, she only looks like she is in her early 30s. But at this moment, when Mo Qingming heard her claim, the whole person was as if being electrocuted. What the is this long list? Mom, what do you call me? Mo Qingming endured the feeling of being burnt on the outside and tender inside and asked. Tears, Yurli Yulai loves Menglian tears, Binja tears down, ice purple butterfly dreams, heart o heart Sakura you, Bingling Yudi Mengru, this is your name for yourself, and you always want us to call you like that, my house the baby is so literary, and the name is very nice. Madame Mo looked at Mo Qingming with a smile. Mom, call me Qingming from now on. At this time, Mo Qingming finally knew what a little bit of girlish feelings he saw when he crossed over. Damn it, this is where the girl's feelings are, it's obviously Mary Sue. Tears Yurli Yulai loves Menglian tears Binja tears down ice purple butterfly dream sorry heart cherry blossom Bingling Yudi Mengru, what happened to your arm? Sebastian, go get the medicine box. At this moment, Mrs. Mo found a blood stain on Mo Qingming's arm, and a frightened look appeared on his face. How could my precious daughter get hurt? However, Mo Qingming was thundered again at this time. Just now. Is the servant who followed her called Sebastian? Damn it, isn't it? Mo Qingming Glay was speechless, and was pulled by Mrs. Mo and sat on the sofa. At this time, Sebastian had already walked over with a medicine box. Tears, Yurli Yulai, love Menglian tears, Binja tears, ice purple butterfly dreams, heart Sakura you, Bingling Yudi Mengru miss, please let me clean your wounds. Sebastian knelt on the carpet, opened the medicine cabinet, and looked at Mo Qingming respectfully. Good. At this time, Mo Qingming could see the Sebastian in front of him clearly. Oops, it. They are dressed the same as the clothes in the anime, and they still have similar hair. Looking closely at the facial features, there are 70% similarities. My God, Mary Sue who is a girl's feelings is terrible. Sebastian gently cleansed Mo Qingming's wound. Madame Mo stood aside, looking distressedly. Who is it that made you like this? Today is over from school. Our maid, Chirai, said that the second brother said that she was going to take the car home with me. Mom, you know, I don't like being with strangers, and then she cried and made troubles. Yes, he knelt down and scratched me in the end. Mo Qingming pouted his mouth and acted like a baby at Madame Mo. After acting as a baby, Mo Qingming felt a little bit cold. My dear, don't be afraid, when your second brother comes back, I will teach him well, that maid, let her get out, and hurt my baby. Madame Mo looked at Sebastian applying potion to Mo Qingming's wound, her eyes filled with distress. Mo Qingming asked Sebastian to heal the wound, and then accompanied Sebastian to the third floor of the villa, which was said to be his own. I don't know why, there is a deep sense of uncertainty in Mo Qingming's heart. When the elevator reached the third floor, Mo Qingming stopped. Suddenly, he dared not step out. In fact, her heart refused. Tears, Yuli, love dream lotus tears, Binja tears, ice purple butterfly dream, heart sakura yu, bingling yi diamond grew miss, here it is. Sebastian bowed respectfully outside, and pointed his fingers outside. Mo Qingming walked out slowly, almost blinded by the light. Shit, she didn't expect it. This is a floor area, very wide, but it has been opened up, and there is a layer of pink long-haired carpet on the ground. On the side of the elevator, there is a pink tandem bicycle, which can obviously be hired in this vast area. Sebastian stepped onto the front of the pink bicycle, and turned his head to look at Mo Qingming respectfully. Tears like Liuli loves Menglian tears Bingya tears fall, purple butterfly dreams sorry heart Sakurata Bingling Yi diamond grew please come up, miss. Mo Qingming gently wiped off the sweat beads that were slowly falling from his forehead, and sat on the soft car cushion. The pink tandem bicycle was already driving towards the big bed. Looking at the pink things around, the various flowers hanging from the ceiling, and the colorful beads and gems, Mo Qingming's heart was broken. Finally Sebastian rode a bike, and after 5 minutes of riding, he reached the big bed. Looking at the big bed of several tens of meters, it was covered with delicate pink lace, and scattered with pearls and gems, under the bright crystal lamp, gleaming with misty light. Is it really uncomfortable to lie on it? Tears, Yuli loves Menglian tears, Binja tears, ice purple butterfly dreams, heart sakura yu, bingling udimen grew miss, this is your pajamas, please follow me to the bathroom. But, is it really good to sleep like this? She took a deep breath, trying to calm her mood, but it was so fragrant in it, she coughed twice, and finally couldn't help it, and walked towards the elevator. She wants to change rooms. Tears Yuli loves Menglian tears Binja tears down ice purple butterfly dream sorry heart sakura yu bingling yudi dreams like miss. Tears Yuli love dream lily tears Binja tears ice purple butterfly dream sol heart ying yu bingling yi dai meng like miss. Sebastian kept calling her name behind him. Mo Qingming rolled his eyes and didn't know how they remembered this kind of name. It really hurts. When he got to the elevator, Sebastian followed, and he put his bicycle aside very politely. He lifted his eyes very handsomely and looked at Mo Qingming. Tears Yuli loves Menglian tears Binja tears falling ice purple butterfly dream sorry heart Sakurata bingling udimen grew miss, what's wrong with you? Come in, go down. Mo Qingming stood in the elevator, only his strength was speaking these words. Yes. Sebastian responded immediately and stood in. Soon 2 people stood one after another in the hall downstairs. Tears Yuli loves Menglian tears, Binja tears down, ice purple butterfly dreams, heart o heart sakura yu, bingling udimen grew, what's wrong with you? Madame Mo was sitting on the sofa drinking coffee. At this time, seeing Mo Qingming down, thinking she was not feeling well, she quickly put down the coffee cup in her hand and greeted her. Mom, I don't want to live in that room, nor do I want to wear those clothes. Mo Qingming looked at Madame Mo with a headache, and didn't know if this request would be allowed. Sabas, go get the handheld computer. When Mrs. Mo heard this small request from Mo Qingming, she didn't take it seriously. Pulling Mo Qingming and sitting down on the sofa, he waited until Sebastian brought his PDA. The above page is the decorated room that Sebastian has found. Tears, Yuli loves Menglian tears, Binja tears, ice purple butterfly dreams, heart sakura yu, bingling udimen grew, look, which style do you like, you can live in it in less than an hour. Madame Mo pointed, and Mo Qingming randomly pointed to a relatively normal and refreshing room. When Mrs. Mo saw Mo Qingming's choice, she was a little surprised. This is not a baby's usual style. Or do you like the new and hate the old and want to change your taste? Madame Mo handed the PDA to Sebastian and asked him to execute it immediately. Only then did Mo Qingming breathe a sigh of relief. Looking at the simple school uniform on his body, he couldn't help but thank the school and let him wear the school uniform. Tears, Yuli loves Menglian tears, Binja tears, ice purple butterfly dreams, heart sakura yu, bingling yudi dreams. With a cry, a black figure walked in. Husband, I'm back. Mrs. Mo stood up happily and greeted her. Mo Qingming also stood up quickly, Dad. Mo Yinghao walked over with a smile, looking at Mo Qingming's small face with a burst of discomfort, and suddenly his face was stern. Who makes my baby angry? It's not the second child who doesn't have long eyes. When he comes back, he has to break his leg. Mrs. Mo said. Okay. Mo Yinghao also nodded. Mo Qingming was speechless at once, and he felt even more that the original owner could be killed in such a family situation. It was really an IQ problem. Uncle Wang, send things to Mrs. Carr. Mo Yinghao said to Wang Shu, the housekeeper who had been following him. Yes. Uncle Wang nodded quickly and went out. What is Dad? Mo Qingming asked curiously. The iPhone 6s you want, you said you would give it to your classmates before. Mo Yinghao said disapprovingly. Mo Qingming was silent for a while. It really was Marie Sodeo who wanted to commit suicide. The mobile phones that have not yet been listed are already going to be taken out and sent to classmates. However, since what was promised before, it is still done, but this kind of thing will not happen in the future. What's the matter, good girl? I'm in a bad mood. Dad wants someone to bring it to you and throw it for fun, and then he will take a badge to send it back to his classmates. When Mo Yinghao saw Mo Qingming's expression, he felt pain in his heart, and his expression was reluctant. Dad, I'm hungry. Mo Qingming felt that he could not bear this storm of enthusiasm. Tears, Yuli loves Menglian tears, Binja tears down, ice purple butterfly dreams, heart o heart sakura yu, bingling yudi mengru, you are not behaved, do you want to eat without waiting for your eldest brother? Following the voice, a slender voice came in, wearing a black suit pants, a white shirt, and 2 buttons on the neckline, which was very charming. Big brother. Seeing Mo Qingjian, Mo Qingming felt very pleased at the bottom of his heart. Probably this is the feeling of the original owner. In the plot, it seems that afterwards, Mo Qingzi became the largest shareholder in the family because of the transfer of Mo Qingming's shares. Later, he defeated Mo Qingjian and became the president of the Mo family consortium. Later, Mo Qingjian was also lost by cannon fodder. Good. Seeing Mo Qingming running up like a cat, Mo Qingjian smiled and reached out and touched her head. The right hand was raised from behind, a gift for you. As soon as Mo Qingming saw the gift, his whole body was petrified. They were pink sunglasses. Is it really good for them to be so matte and tender? Why, don't you like it? Mo Qingjian looked at Mo Qingming in a daze, and asked. I like it, but eldest brother don't buy these anymore, I've grown up. Mo Qingming took Mo Qingjian's arm and spoke. Good. Mo Qingjian stroked his head fondly. The family just sat down at the dining table when they saw Mo Qingzi rushing in. Behind him was Qian Lily, who was limping and very embarrassed. Probably because he ran too fast, Qian Lily still wore small high heels on her feet. Before following Mo Qingzi, she fell to the ground. Lily, are you all right? Mo Qingzi stretched out her hand to help Qian Bei up, and looked distressed when she saw her ankle was red and swollen. Fine. Qian Lily shook her head, tears also fell. Holding Qian Lily, Mo Qingzi glared at Mo Qingming again. Tears, Yuli loves Menglian tears, Binja tears down, ice purple butterfly dreams, heart sakura yu, bingling yudi mengru, why are you so cruel, why can't you bring Lily back? It made her go all alone. Walk back to a far place. Snapped before Mo Qingming spoke, Madame Mo clicked and threw the chopsticks on the table. What is she, to sit with my baby? Of course, Mo Qingming's mood was also ups and downs at this time. She didn't understand. In such an angry state, how did Mo Qingzi call out this series of names of herself, without flushing or panting? It was amazing.